Alexander Volkanovski praises Islam Makhachev. Alexander Volkanovski might have been knocked out by Topuria in the second round of their UFC 298 fight, but he believes that the only fighter who can drag him into deep waters and beat him over 5 rounds is Islam Makhachev. Topuria and everyone else merely have a puncher chance when facing him in the octagon. During a pre-fight interview with Main Event TV ahead of his fight with Diego Lopez in April, Volkanovski spoke about his confidence in his abilities, while also giving credit to Makhachev. He was discussing Lopez's path to victory in their upcoming featherweight title fight when he made his statement, "I don't believe anyone can beat me. The only person that I can see giving me a tough fight for 5 rounds is Islam Makhachev, which we know from the first one. As you've seen, everyone else has just got a puncher chance. That's just how I always look at it, and I truly believe that. And that's the confidence I have in myself. No one can beat me. They can catch me, so I think he needs to be reckless to beat me. If he tries to fight this perfect fight, it's not going to work. He needs to try and be reckless and catch me. That's his best chance." These are strong words from a fighter who has been at the top of his game for years. Volkanovski is known for his durability, his incredible cardio, and his ability to adjust in fights. But after suffering a knockout loss to Topuria, questions have been raised about whether he can still dominate the division like he once did. His fight against Diego Lopez will be a crucial test, and the result will tell us a lot about where he stands in the division. Ahead of the fight, Volkanovski is sitting as a slight betting favorite on most major sportsbooks, while Lopez is considered a slight underdog. Despite being the favorite, many believe Lopez is a dangerous opponent with the power and skills to pull off an upset. The biggest question remains, can Volkanovski bounce back? Fighters over the age of 35 competing for titles in weight classes often face challenges that younger athletes do not. His upcoming fight will reveal if he still has what it takes to stay at the top. Below 185 lbs historically have struggled. Will Volkanovski be able to break the curse and reclaim his title? Only time will tell. Moving on to the second news. Dana White ghosts Logan Paul asking to join the UFC. While there is no love lost between Dana White and Jake Paul, Dana has actually praised Logan Paul as a good businessman. This came after the UFC signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Prime, the energy drink, co-founded by Logan Paul and KSI. But despite Logan's business success and his combat sports experience when it comes to actually fighting in the UFC, it seems that Dana White has absolutely no interest. During a recent episode of his Impulsive podcast, Logan revealed that he texted Dana White about fighting on the UFC 300 card last year. He wanted a shot at competing in the octagon on one of the biggest UFC events in history. But guess what? White never got back to him. And according to Logan, the reason could be how CM Punk's run in the UFC went. He recalled the situation and said CM Punk fed up, he fed up. And after that, Dana was like, "I'm never doing this again." But, dude, I'm not CM Punk. He was a great wrestler, not a UFC fighter. I think I would be a much better UFC fighter than I would just a boxer. My skill is wrestling. I'm a wrestler. Logan believes that his wrestling background sets him apart from CM Punk, who struggled badly in his UFC career. While CM Punk was a WWE superstar with no real combat sports experience, Logan Paul has wrestling credentials from his high school days and has showcased his grappling ability in WWE. He has also trained in boxing and stepped into the ring with the likes of Floyd Mayweather and Dylan Dennis. However, despite his confidence in his abilities, Dana White didn't even respond to his text. Logan recalled the moment while speaking with Tom Aspinall on the podcast. "I told Dana for UFC 300. I texted him. I said, hey man, consider me available to fight on the undercard in the Sphere. Yeah, Bia basically completely ignored me. So what is next for Logan Paul in MMA? If he is really serious about competing in mixed martial arts, the most likely landing spot would be the PFL Professional Fighters League. Why? Because Jake Paul has already signed with the PFL and has a good relationship with the promotion. It would not be surprising if Logan followed in his brother's footsteps and made his MMA debut there instead of the UFC. Will we ever see Logan Paul inside the octagon, or has Dana White already shut the door on that possibility forever? Moving on to another news. UFC manager reacts to Colby Covington's comments. Earlier this week, Colby Covington took shots at Paul Felder, bringing up an alleged wild incident that reportedly happened while they were on an army base. According to Covington, Felder got way too drunk, lost control, and ended up in an embarrassing situation tied to a toilet. Covington claimed that the former UFC fighter turned commentator drank an entire bottle of Jack Daniels before things spiraled out of control. He said that Felder got into an argument with his manager Brian Butler, and at that point Covington himself had to step in to deal with a blacked-out Irish dragon. However, Butler quickly refuted this story, clarifying that while yes, Felder did get drunk, the whole tied to a toilet part was simply not true. In a response, Butler shared his own version of what really happened, recalling a bizarre and slightly hilarious scene. "I open the door and I see water coming out from the bathroom. I see Paul's shadowy figure just teetering, and I'm like, this is like a horror movie." Butler described how things got messy, but it was more of a funny night of drinking rather than the wild, humiliating scene Covington painted. According to Butler, Felder definitely had too much to drink, but he was never tied to a toilet. The next morning, as Felder finally stepped off the elevator and entered the hotel lobby, everyone was ready to roast him. It was all in good fun, with Felder seemingly taking it in stride. But here is where things take an unexpected turn. Despite his usual trash-talking reputation, Covington was not actually trying to humiliate Felder. Instead, Butler says that Covington was actually looking out for him the entire time. That is just on brand for Colby, Butler said, implying that despite Covington's loudmouthed, polarizing personality, he does have moments where he looks out for his peers. This unexpected revelation adds an interesting layer to Covington's character. While he is often seen as a villain inside and outside the octagon, stories like this show that he might not be as bad as some people make him out to be. Regardless of the truth, one thing is for sure: Paul Felder will not be living this night down anytime soon. Magomed's back at Alex Pereira's comments. The rivalry between Magomed and Alex Pereira is heating up once again. In a recent interview, on X, Pereira made some bold statements about their previous fight, and Ankalaev wasted no time in firing back. Reacting to Pereira's claims, Ankalaev made it clear that he does not believe the champion truly deserved the win. In a fiery response, he did not hold back at all, saying he upset I hold him against the cage, but he not upset when I almost knocked him out. Nobody in the world think he won. Next fight will be under 3 rounds. I only trained 4 weeks for my last fight. The UFC know this. This was his best chance. According to Ankalaev, his performance in their fight was nowhere near his best. He revealed that he had only 4 weeks of training camp. Despite that, Magomed still believes he dominated the fight and was close to finishing Pereira. But the drama did not stop there. He also made allegations that Pereira may have used greasing tactics, suggesting that Pereira intentionally made himself slippery to avoid getting controlled in the fight. Pereira completely dismissed the accusation, but he did it in the most savage way possible. Instead of a technical response, he went straight for a personal attack on Pereira's looks. "Honestly, I really like his coach." Magomed Ankalaev's confidence in securing a victory over Alex Pereira in a potential rematch has intensified their rivalry. Ankalaev asserts that he would finish Pereira within 3 rounds, emphasizing his belief in his superiority over the former champion. This bold prediction has fueled anticipation among fans eager to see if Ankalaev can back up his words, or if Pereira will prove him wrong. Pereira, on the other hand, has expressed frustration over Ankalaev's tactics in their previous bout, suggesting changes to rules regarding clinching against the cage. He believes Ankalaev's strategy hindered the fight's action and has called for adjustments to prevent similar scenarios in the future. As discussions about a rematch continue, both fighters remain steadfast in their convictions, adding depth to their ongoing feud and setting the stage for a highly anticipated showdown. Moving on to other news, Ilia Topuria has officially announced his transition to the lightweight division, vacating his featherweight title due to challenges in making the 145-pound weight limit. Topuria has set his sights on becoming a two-division champion, focusing his training exclusively on potential bouts against reigning champion Islam Makhachev or former champion Charles Oliveira. He stated, "All my training is focused on Islam, or Charles, because I don't see any other opponents." However, Topuria's move has not been without controversy. His comments about Oliveira have been deemed disrespectful by the former champion, who emphasized the importance of maintaining respect among fighters and highlighted the challenges within the lightweight division. Diario Ace. Additionally, Michael Chandler has issued a warning to Topuria, highlighting the increased difficulty of competing in the lightweight division and suggesting that Topuria may not be fully prepared for the challenges ahead. Conor McGregor, the renowned MMA fighter, has recently announced his intention to run for the presidency of Ireland, a move that has sparked significant debate and controversy. Utilizing social media platforms, McGregor has been vocal about his political ambitions, expressing strong opinions on Ireland's immigration policies and advocating for increased government transparency. He has called for elections to be held by November 11, 2025, emphasizing his opposition to the EU migration pact and highlighting concerns about what he describes as an illegal immigration racket in Ireland. McGregor's political aspirations have been further highlighted by his recent visit to the White House on St. Patrick's Day, where he met with former U.S. President Donald Trump. During this meeting, McGregor discussed his political views and underscored the importance of the relationship between the United States and Ireland, referring to the U.S. as a big sibling to Ireland. Despite his enthusiasm, experts suggest that McGregor's chances of securing a place on the presidential ballot are minimal. Political analysts point out the challenges he would face in meeting the eligibility criteria and garnering the necessary political support. Additionally, some critics question his suitability for political office, citing his lack of experience and previous controversies. Interestingly, McGregor has indicated that his potential presidency would not preclude a return to the octagon. He has stated that even if elected, he would continue his fighting career, suggesting a unique blend of athletic and political pursuits. As McGregor navigates this new path, the public remains divided. Supporters view him as a passionate advocate for change, while detractors question the feasibility and motivations behind his political ambitions. Regardless of the outcome, McGregor's foray into politics has undeniably added a new chapter to his multifaceted career.